Along the wild central coast of British Columbia, something kept raiding the crab traps. Night after night, they turned up damaged and emptied. No one could say who or what was doing it. So the researchers set their cameras and waited. This is the story of the culprit they caught and the puzzle she left behind. The traps belonged to the Haislzaqv guardians near Bella Bella. They were hunting an invader, the European green crab, which tears through eelgrass, clams, and salmon habitat all along this coast. But the traps themselves kept being torn open, bait gone, netting shredded. The guardians were suddenly running a different investigation, a literal whodunit on the beach. Picture the trap. A baited cage resting on the seafloor, fully underwater, marked only by a small buoy bobbing at the surface. Inside it, herring and scraps of sea lion, irresistible to the right nose. So they aimed motion-triggered cameras at the traps, hoping to catch the thief in the act. On the 29th of May, 2024, one camera fired. Out of the cold water walked a wolf, a coastal sea wolf, with the buoy gripped in her jaws. She climbed the rocky beach, dropped the buoy, and turned back toward the water for the line. Then she pulled. Mouthful by mouthful, she hauled the line in until the heavy trap rose out of the depths and broke the surface. She dragged it into the shallows, chewed through the netting, opened the bait cup, and ate. Start to finish, about 3 minutes, and here is the part that stops you. That trap was completely submerged, invisible from shore. To go for it at all, she had to understand that the little buoy on the surface was tied to a meal she could not see. As ecologist Artelle put it, the fact that the trap was out of sight makes it hard to argue she didn't understand the connection. No one had documented a wild wolf, or any wild canid, doing something like this before. Captive dingoes had shown hints, but never a wolf in the wild, on its own. Yet not everyone calls it tool use. Benjamin Beck, who wrote the standard definition, says it is object use, not tool use, because a human, not the wolf, tied that line to the trap. Co-author Paul Paquet disagrees. Hauling that line, deliberately, again and again, meets the spirit of the thing. And as another biologist noted, if a chimpanzee had done this, no one would have blinked. The label stays unsettled, and the authors leave it that way. What is harder to argue with is the cognition, a goal, a hidden reward, and a plan carried out step by step. Then, on the 14th of February 2025, a second camera caught a different wolf pulling at another trap's line, with nearby traps later found stripped of their bait. A hint that the trick might be spreading. The authors stay careful. They cannot yet say whether that wolf solved a sunken trap or simply found one near the surface. But here, where these wolves are rarely hunted, they have something rare. Quiet time on the beach to experiment. It began as a hunt for whoever kept wrecking the traps. The culprit, caught on camera and published by Artelle and Paquet in Ecology and Evolution, was a wolf who linked a float on the surface to food hidden in the dark below, and left behind a question we still cannot settle. Tool use, or just a very clever animal? A century ago, a scientist watching chimpanzees solve puzzles called their focus unwaveringly purposeful. On a quiet beach in Haislzaqv territory, a wolf wore the same look, drawing an invisible line between what floats and what sinks. We may keep debating the word for it. She was just busy being curious.